Hi, everybody. It's Jane Johnston with the Bar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, and I forgot to put our little thing on the front.
Our little intro? Or, oh, yeah. And action. Hello. It's Andrew Plank with Royal LePage. Another week has gone by, and here we are. And we have, we're going to talk stats before we bring in our speaker. We have an exciting speaker today.
An award winner. Yes.
Award winner.
So, but first of all, how was your week?
A good week. Yeah, a good week. I had a date night with my lady on Friday. Date day. We got away for the day.
Get out of town.
Yeah. Well, we didn't. We didn't get out of town because we were planning to. And then with all the rain and the Malahat in questionable condition and so forth, we decided let's just cancel all our plans, which were extensive, and did a staycation here in Victoria. But it was nice.
Did you go to a hotel or something?
Well, we didn't. Well, we did. We went to the Brentwood Bay Inn and had, the spa stuff, the couple spa stuff, keep her happy. I fell asleep on the table. It's couples massage, so there's 2 massages going on at the same time. I'm snoring away because it was just so I wasn't sleeping, but I was very relaxed. And all I could hear was this giggling coming from the other side of the room. Anyway, and then, hot tub, and it's a great place if you want to get away for a little getaway. But no, we didn't get a hotel room.
Maybe we should have them, Brentwood Bay Inn, as a guest.
Yeah, sure. Maybe they'll put us up.
I just want to say I'm imagining the sound of somebody snoring and giggling in a room.
I know. It was very romantic. Anyway, so that was good. And then Saturday, of course, was back to work. Because if you don't go away from town, you end up working no matter what, even though we had plans to do. Yeah.
Well, I got an accepted offer on a property.
Yes. Wow. As a buyer's agent, is that what you're telling me? That's the unicorn.
With conditions.
Oh my God. Well, where was it? In Timbuktu? It wasn't.
I can't tell you. I'd have to kill you. No, it's Central Saanich. So yeah, very excited. But you know the saying that buyers are liars. They say that because when
buyers are not liars.
When buyers often think they have a vision. What happens is either the financing changes the vision, or the lifestyle, or anyway. So we ended up actually with the house pretty much what they want, but not in the location they want. And part of that was just financing, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about that saying before. I don't like that saying, buyers are liars, but we use it. And it's not true that buyers are liars. Buyers have great intentions, and their ideas of what they want and our ability to communicate and understand what they're looking for aren't always in alignment. And it's all about trying to suss that out and get better at it. But people change, and they change because the market changes.
Yeah. It's a journey, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's find out what's going on with the market this week. I have not previewed this today, so I'm
ready for this. This is amazing. Nothing has changed. It's the same story. It's the same broken record. I'll take the top because you let's switch it up. I'll take the top and you take the lower level there. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm thinking bunk beds. I'm thinking the movie Big. Okay, go ahead. I'm being silly today.
Okay. All right. So in the last week, actually currently, in the last week, we've had 149 new listings come live on the market here in Victoria. Well, 137 of the listings on market have gone pending. So just a little bit more coming on market than are going pending, which is good news. We've had 13 price decreases as opposed to 3 price increases. 3 have come back on market. I'll skip over sold. 11 have expired. So 11 expired plus the 137 pending gives us 148 properties that came off market while 149 came on. So really, it's pretty much 1-to-1. And plus 5 withdrawn, it's even more. So the market continues to lower inventory.
Right. And so let's talk about that number. So last year we had record sales of 900. This year, 795. This year we're at 444. So
Sales so far this month, and what we're at November 21st, 22nd.
Yes, 22nd. So this is 3/4 of the way through the month. New listings 484. So that jives with that other number that we're looking at. And last year we had 823. So we're not going to meet that. So what's happening is we're outselling the inventory, and that's why our number of active listings is at 954 compared to 1813. And last year I remember that being low.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Last year we thought 1813 was dramatically low, and now it's blown out of the water.
yeah.
What's interesting too, Jane, is like you monitor our Facebook, the various Facebook groups. There's some Facebook groups, and our colleagues are on that are private groups for realtors, not official groups, but most of the realtors in Victoria, let's say 2/3 of the realtors in Victoria are on these. And I've seen a number of people posting lately like, hey, I've got a listing. These people want to sell their home. Should I wait till the spring or should we go now? And pretty much everybody who's working with buyers is saying, list now, we need the inventory. So where traditionally somebody might wait till the spring, we're seeing that it's not a bad time to list. And you can see that in the numbers.
I'm telling people to wait.
You are? Yeah.
I am, because I want them to have a choice of inventory on the buying side. So if it's an investment property, I'm saying go ahead, sell. It's a great time to sell. But on the buying side, let's make sure that there's stuff for you to buy. So there's just no choice right now. So
yeah, that's a great point. Is that it is very individual, and your individual needs might dictate what the strategy is and the timing. But just from a perspective of selling a home this year versus prior years, it's not a bad time to go on market, despite the fact that it's dark and wet and
yeah. Okay, so let's bring on Yvonne. And I added that to the stream too early, but that's okay. Hi, Yvonne. How are you? Oh, sorry. Let me unmute you. This is why it's so exciting when it's live.
I was telling Yvonne it wouldn't be a show if he said, she said, they said, if we didn't have technical difficulties.
Oh, good. Good morning.
Good morning.
So Yvonne is coming to us from Calgary. I know her from being online with her, and I'm not sure why my picture is bigger than everybody else's. But
I just changed it.
Oh,
sorry.
Thank you. You can fiddle with it in the background. So Yvonne is an award-winning stager. So tell us actually about your award. Your top 10 in
occupied home staging. Yeah, it's wonderful. I've received these several years in a row, but it's always a big honor. It's this was the first time that we got awarded for what we call enhanced occupied staging. So when we add a couple of accessories to a property to make it look amazing.
7 years in a row?
I've had them 7 years. In 2018, I won Stager of the Year Canada, but I have received them, 7 years in a row.
We have a star on the show.
I know, right?
Yvonne works with a friend of mine in Calgary, Christian, as well. And so we actually know several people and together.
And we love rowing. See, so here we go.
Right.
Yeah. I influenced Yvonne, I think, to learn to row. So she's rowing with a friend of mine who's training out there. Okay. So occupied homes means that these are homes that people are living in and they're staging them to sell.
Yes, absolutely. They're getting ready to go to market using their own furniture, art, and accessories. And I come in to advise them on how to set the house up the best way for sale.
So from a traditional, when people traditionally think staging, they think, okay, I take all of my own furniture out and I'm going to bring in all of this wonderful, amazing furniture and create this sense of this home. And that's really inconvenient and difficult for many people who actually continue to live in their home. So what you're doing is working within the lines of what people have.
Yes, absolutely. It's, we focus on, and that's usually a misconception. People think always when it comes to staging, it's like, they think expensive. Now I need to live with rental furniture. And that is very much not true. When you're living in a property, it's very possible to have it staged and we focus on photography. So everything that we do is from a perspective of getting the best photos possible for marketing material. And you can use, I think 98% of all my clients don't need anything when I come through.
Nice.
Yeah, I found that with my clients too. So the first time I had a home staged, I had a listing, people were coming in and they'd look at this 3-legged table in the hall and they go, how is that standing up? And it was placed against the wall. Actually, it might have just been a 2-legged table. It was placed against the wall. And so the stager came in and she's like, that table's got to go. And sure enough, like the next week at an open house, people are like, oh, I love that skylight. Like the focus totally changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of works like family photos where the tall things need to be in the back and the shorter things need to be in the front, because otherwise your plant is the biggest thing in the photo. So look at everything and, flow of the house. How can people walk through with ease? So there's many elements that you can use to make the house look more appealing and work more functionally.
Okay, so let's actually start the show here. Let me just add it to the stream and I'm going to start the show, which means I won't be able to see what's going on.
So Yvonne, we'll just say next slide, please.
Yes. Well, one of the very important elements that gets not a whole lot of attention when preparing for sale is paint colors and colors in general. So I'm going to talk today about the right paint color when you're selling. So curb appeal is very important. This is for Calgary, a heritage home. And after, got ready for sale, it looked very tired. But if you looked at the next slide, we used heritage paint colors to refresh this house, took the sunshades off and painted all the gutters and fascia, and it looks brand new.
I also see you changed out the blinds so that you've got more consistent and more modern look.
It felt very old and tired, and now it looks fabulous, new.
I like the addition of the snow in the yard too.
That's for you.
You don't see that.
Yes.
It's a nice touch.
They are Calgary pictures, yes, for sure. So yeah, if you go to the next one. So this was, and I'm sure you come across many properties that you kind of go like, what were they thinking? But this is where the parents moved out, the kids took over the house, and one of the daughters took over the primary bedroom. So it looked more like a dorm room than anything else, and they were getting ready to list. So if you look at the next one, decluttering and painting everything in a neutral color made the room feel twice as large. And you can see too, professional photography, right? What a difference that makes. And now it's a true master bedroom. So yeah, a lot of people ask me the question because this is one of the photos that I won my awards with. But if you really dig into the previous photo, you can see the bed and the ottoman under the Mickey Mouse.
Oh yeah. And the carpet's the same too.
Yes, it is. It got cleaned. How about that?
Right.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's all about the details. Yeah.
I see a lot of buyers who will, they get really interested in a house and they want to see it because, they love the photos.
Yes.
And it's really a challenge to teach them to, even when they see the photo in the prior image, to teach them to still want to see that house.
Yeah.
It's a big one to overcome.
I bet you 85% of people cannot see through this and would walk away from it.
Because at the end of the day, it's the same house.
Yes. Well, this is a condo that I was invited to. And as you know, condos have a very small floor plan. And with a dog and the baby and mama's grandma furniture, it became, I called it a smarty box because it really was. I even felt overwhelmed when I walked in. This one had been on the market for 8 months and they didn't understand why it didn't sell.
You said a smarty box, did you?
Yes. It's like all these colors, right?
Yeah.
My house was like that too.
Well, if you live in it, that's totally okay. But if you're selling it, it's a different.
We just painted it all white.
Well, and I mentioned the color because I get a lot of questions about this. So here we took the hutch out. We turned the table. A different chair was brought in from a nursery. So this is all her own stuff. And it got painted and the floor actually got extended into the kitchen. So that's the change, but massive, right? This is a massive change. So, and that really is like the power of paint. It really is.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
And that red door was really distracting too.
Yes, very distracting. The red door was like, ooh. Right now, we see the trend of very dark paint colors, and people have fully embraced it. Kids' bedrooms in general have a lot of color in them and a lot of things. So this was a children's bedroom that needed to, well, the house needed to go in the market, and I asked them to paint, and they did. So if you see the next, that's the same room, same artwork, right? So it's like, it looks so much lighter and brighter and calm. And I think not everybody comes in with children. If you have older children, it's a very big difference between young and old children, right? How they approach a room. But this feels inviting. And if you then after want to add, like, I don't know, wallpaper or an accent wall, you can, but now you can actually see through it.
That splash of color in the art it's nice when you've got the neutral of everything else.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's just, there's just too much going on here in this first.
Well, it was the only light in the first photo. That artwork.
Yeah. And it's interesting because the floor is dark, right? And in this one, it just like all the color absorbs every single piece of light, but this one is reflected.
Yeah. So light bedding, right? Light walls, calm, and then the floor is actually a feature, right? Then you're not so distracted by it.
Okay.
So this was a what we call flex room in a condo. So, you know, a lot of young people live in this building, and you really have to look at your demographic when you're selling. And so these people had a baby, and then the flex room turned into nursery, all sorts of stuff. And she went all out with her pink paint, which is totally fine when you're living in it. If you want to do a pink nursery, please have at her. But we also needed to show people the opportunity of that could be an office, right? So if you keep it neutral, even the artwork neutral, it's still a nursery, but now we see more opportunity.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I had a client just do this. Actually, he's in the middle of doing it right now. It looks way better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's still a functional nursery, but you can see how you could use it for something else, like a yoga room or a, you know, an office or anything else.
Well, and that's what you have to think about too when you're selling. It's like people have objections, and when there's objections or questions, they have a reason to talk your price down. So what we feel with younger buyers is that they hire people to do these things. They don't spend a Saturday afternoon with a can of paint and a record on getting this done. And the older generation generally does it that way. So the difference between an older person selling a property between a millennial type of buyer buying it, the millennial buyer will hire a painter and the other group will not. And there's usually between $5,000 and $10,000 difference in value that they see needs to be talked off a price when things have to be painted.
Right.
True. By the way, the floor again is much more of a feature in this one compared to the last one. Like,
right? Yeah, it gets kind of like washed out. Yeah, for sure.
I would say just on the topic of painting and having, you know, the people hiring versus doing their own, you know, I've had some of my clients decide to do their own paint, and it has been a mistake.
I could share that 40% of paint sales is because of the wrong color.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's color or it's application.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. I know.
So this is to hire those people.
Yeah. This is an interesting one because this is exterior. So these people, this house is obviously from like 80s, maybe late 80s, beginning of the 90s. Mm-hmm. They did have a new roof. Everything looked funny. They renovated the entire house on the inside, but the outside still looked very dated. And so what a lot of people don't realize is that there's a lot of elements on a house that you can paint. So brick can be painted, soffits and fascia, stucco, all your trim. This house, all the elements stayed with the exception of the brick I painted out. So the red brick on the bottom and then stucco and trim. So this is just paint, this update.
So you know, I have a client who I said this to yesterday, actually, and she just cannot see by the color of the house. It's funny.
Yeah. Well, it's an investment, and often people, you know, it is important if you're kind of lost to hire somebody that can help you select the right color, and that will take the whole mystery out of this because you can see it makes a huge difference. So now the outside matches the inside.
If budget's an issue, I mean, they could paint only the trim and perhaps, I mean, they'd still end up with that sort of cream exterior?
Yeah, there's ways, because I mean the green obviously is the color that makes it dated, right?
Yeah.
So if you
I
change
also see that contrast with that sort of trellis under the front deck there.
Yeah.
And it really just shows that there's a space under there that you have to kind of deal with or something. I like that in the other one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yvonne, how much does it cost to paint a house in Calgary?
Ooh, that's I see on the interior, and that really depends obviously on size and how dark or light the walls are. So if we go, I would say average 2 applications would be between $5,000 and $10,000 on the inside, and I have seen quotes around the same price point for the exterior if it's stucco.
Yeah, like is it sprayed on?
Yeah, they spray it on. Yeah.
And do you use an elastomeric paint or a specific kind of paint?
You have to, well, especially because we're
Or
dealing with
stucco.
such extreme weather changes here. You have to have specific elastic paint for stucco. Otherwise it breaks.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Sorry.
Yeah. Another example, like this was kind of a mid-century modern bungalow, and they made it so cool on the inside. And like the brick, because that's the thing with paint, you always have to select a paint color that works with all the elements that are staying on or in a house. And here the brick was the one that took everything away of possibilities. And so we decided to paint out the brick in a gray, and that modernized the whole house.
Yeah, it looks really good. I do find here though that having a dark color is hard to maintain because in the sun, in the summer, it gets too hot. What do you think, Andrew?
You do. I mean, you do have to watch that. I mean, if you've got a good efficient heat pump or something, that will help. But why have it fighting against the elements?
Yeah, when you pick a paint color, you have to look at the exposure too. So this one was north facing on the garage door. So if you had a south facing house, I would not recommend this dark.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
So here's your typical condo, or it's a townhouse. And when you walk in, so this is kind of the psychological effect of colors. Here you walk in, you think they have done nothing since it was built. Like you look at the handles, they're at an angle. It's like all this funny trim. And so people don't not alone look at the paint colors, but they also think what else hasn't been maintained, right? So they think of bigger things like furnaces, roof, and things like that. So this is the same kitchen. We have a company here in town that sprays countertops, which is brilliant quick. And they give 5-year warranty on the spray. So this is a fully updated kitchen, same kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh
and so
God.
Right? So vinyl plank was put in, kitchen was sprayed, counters were sprayed, and it sold right away.
So when I first saw the first picture here, before we moved to the second one, I thought, how hard would it be to remove the trim that's on the front facing on the island, on the peninsula, and on those? And you chose to keep them because that's the simpler option, obviously, and removing them would mean a lot of repair, I would assume.
Well, and they're pretty straight lined. They're not very frilly. So,
right.
Painting it out was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And changing the poles is where the big difference also, yes. Like with the
hardware dates a place real quickly. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How do they do the countertops?
It's a 3-layer component. And so this is a company that can reglaze shower stalls, bathtubs, and they could spray laminate countertops, or, the ones with the seashell sinks with the marble and stuff. They spray them, and it's a 3-layer component. So it's very, very hard.
Wow.
So wait a sec. They can spray over the seashell sinks?
They can, yes. Absolutely.
So you still keep the seashell?
Well, it's sometimes this was a matter of speed and budget. So here we could not, like when you take the countertops off, you also have to do the backsplash.
Right.
And then it's kind of like domino because the sink needs to be done, right? All that. So this was a matter of fast sale, go to market quickly. And we sprayed it.
No, I mean, it is. They've got time, energy, and money. That's what I tell people. There's those 3 dimensions, and how much of each are you going to put into this? And if you're in the spring market already, you're not going to, you don't want to recommend people to take 3 months to do a major reno either.
Well, and it has to reflect the price point of the house, right? If this was $1 million property, we would have asked to have the countertop changed.
Good point. Yeah. So working within the means, and that goes back to what you said too about who's your end buyer here, and you're not going to really trick this out. It's like updating it's like supercharging a Pinto.
It is, absolutely. Yes.
So you changed the light fixtures here too, hey?
Not the fan, that one stayed, but we did do, and that's a simple IKEA track light. So
yeah, just modernized it, very clean.
Because it was a young buyer that was going to move into this, and yeah, it looked really fun. So really good.
Awesome.
So yeah, so this is a lot of questions that I get. I like gray, and I'm like, no, gray's out, or it's phasing out. Every about 5 years, color trends change. So please don't paint your house gray anymore. And that goes the same. I have a lot of investor realtors. They say revere pewter. And I'm like, that has like a yellow-green undertone. So no. I have a whole book of whites. And what is important is the undertone of the paint that decides which white is the best for you. You cannot select a color in the store. Please don't. You have to see them in your house because there's so many elements that decide on the right color. And all paint is the same. That is also not the case because I see show homes or spec homes, and after using the bathroom, you feel like the glue is seeping down on the walls. Bathrooms need different types of paint.
Yes, you need like an eggshell or something.
It's actually
like
water resistant. Yeah,
water resistant.
Mold and mildew resistant. Yeah.
Going back to that, just on a side note, I helped somebody into a home, and the baseboards in that bathroom were just destroyed because they'd used sort of an MDF kind of baseboard, and I don't know, it wasn't just about paint, but solid wood in there because it gets a little wet on that and it just expands. Yes. But people, when they're doing the renos, don't think.
Yeah, you're on the coast and water is huge, right? So it's and moisture. We are so super dry. So for us, it's not that big of a deal here. But yeah, especially moisture-rich rooms like a bathroom or a sauna room or whatever you have. Very important to pick the right paint.
I have a question, Yvonne, about the last slide, and that's if the myth is that gray is still trending, what is now trending?
Well, I kind of compare it to a wool sweater. So we have moved to like creamy colors, softer tones. So if you think of like a sheep wool sweater, that kind of colors are now the trend because everybody is ready for a little bit more coziness, and so white, light, creamy colors, those are in now.
I have a nice. I almost wore my gray cashmere sweater, so that wouldn't have.
Well, you would have been warm.
I'm rolling my eyes at you. You know what's funny? So when we bought this house, this carpet was new, which I don't really like the color, but and with 2 kids, we decided to keep it because then they would have a place to roll around. But when the dog is older and the kids are older, we're gonna change it. So I'll be calling you for what color carpet.
I'll come over anytime.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the next one. Okay.
So yeah, like I say, 85% of buyers cannot see past crazy wallpaper, colors, and that kind of thing. When you select a paint color, please take all the elements into account that comes with a house. So your counters, your cabinets, your flooring color all decides in what spectrum you can look. So not one fits all. You always have to keep in the style of the property. So when you have a heritage home and you turn it into this ultra modern glossy property, it will not feel right. Exposure of the house, every room is important. So south facing rooms get more orangey kind of light in, but the north facing rooms get more green light in. So a blue color on the north will feel more gloomy than in a south facing room. So there's elements like that. If you want to select a color for living, by all means, please do whatever you love. But keep in mind that when you're selling, you have to bring it back to neutral. And trendy colors are wonderful. Same thing for living, great. If you want to add a little bit of color from that's trending right now to a house that's selling, think of pillows or candles or maybe a piece of art.
So I have a question. So I've seen wallpaper on the top of this slide here. whatever that is. Can you paint over wallpaper?
Some you can. There's like wallpaper. You have to know what kind, because there's like wallpaper now that you can strip, that you can even use in rental properties. You cannot paint over that. If it really is glued onto like old-fashioned glue, you can paint over it. And any kind of fiber, glass fiber kind of wallpaper you can paint over. That's actually what it's made for. But if you have wallpaper that has been put up with water-soluble glue, it will come down.
Right.
Saw a great home recently that had some beautiful velvet on it. Velvet wallpaper. It was amazing.
Was it red?
No, it was yellow, like sort of a goldy, yeah. And it was vintage. It actually matched the house. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, it can be beautiful, but you have to be careful with it.
So I have a question. What did you do with each of these rooms here, actually?
Well, the people on the bottom were very proud of their LED lighting that they had a remote control with, and they turned it on because they said, well, we're listing around the Christmas season, so people will love this setup. And I was like, well, no. So I asked them actually to turn everything off, which they didn't think was amazing. And the cloud wallpaper, that all got taken down and painted. Yeah, there was no way around it. You actually felt kind of epic in the room after that. So. So yeah, we call paint money in a can, because it's such an instant, big change, least amount of investment when you're getting ready to list. People will see the value in it. They love a move-in ready house. Even if it might not be the perfect color for them, they still will appreciate the effort you put into it. And so the house will feel maintained, well kept. And so less reason for people to question if you kept it well. So it's, I think, one of the number one investments when you're selling.
It's a really good point, and something I always, I have a 3-strike rule when going through homes. And I mean, it's my own rule. Buyers have their own rules. So you don't make decisions for them. But the fact is that as you go through a home, you're going to start to notice how it's been cared for. And if you're seeing that it's been well cared for, you assume that other things have been well cared for as well. And if you see a couple of issues or problems, you assume that they're going to find other problems as well. So it's really important to show that the home has been well cared for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have another question regarding people who smoke. I went into a beautiful home. It was a 1920s home, retro, and you could see the cigarette stain, the nicotine stains on the walls. And it would have been a shame to take down all the I think it was plaster, actually. So can paint be used to remove those types of stains?
No, and this is a really important question, actually, because we see this a lot. People think, oh, fresh coat of paint, it smells good, and it does. But what you actually do is you lock in the nicotine smell under the paint. And once it's painted, you cannot remove it. So the best steps to do it is an ozone treatment in the house. So everything needs to be cleaned first, carpets, whatever you can think of. All the soft elements like curtains need to be removed. And then an ozone treatment. And once the ozone treatment has been done, then you can paint.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, if you paint over walls that have smoke smell or nicotine in them, the minute the sun hits the wall or you turn the furnace on, that smell comes back.
Right. Yeah. I actually had somebody remove the nicotine. I had to get them to literally hose the walls down.
Mm-hmm. If you can, that's wonderful. A drywall, you can't.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So how do people get in touch with you?
Well, here's all my information. If you have any questions please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer questions.
So because we also do this by podcast, you can reach Yvonne at stagingcalgary.ca, and her number is, Yvonne?
403-630-0541.
Okay, that's awesome. I had a couple more questions for you, Yvonne. Have we got a few more minutes?
Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so I noticed we were talking about, there was one with one of those photos showed an example of, I think the daughter had been living in the room there, but we often list homes with tenants. And do you ever go into a tenanted home, and how do you manage that? Because tenants are not ever as motivated, and they don't have to clean. So do you have any way of?
Yes. it is more tricky, I have to say, because they don't have a stake in the sale, right? They don't benefit from anything that they do. We always talk more into the side of pride, because they do, and there's a couple of elements. So one is presentation, but it also is that people will walk through their property, or it's more like with their items in the property. So safety is always a concern. So I always talk them through what they need to watch for when people come through. People need to be able to see the house without having anything in their way. But the people that are living also needs to feel safe. Other people walking through their property, if that makes sense, right?
Yes.
So I kind of tap into that part, that, it's really important for them to pack up their things, put their valuables away, make sure that nobody has access to their identity or whatever. But yeah, we focus with tenants on the photography, and then we really hope that they will do their best to make it look good for showings as well. So often people are motivated to get it ready for photography, and then we encourage them to do the same for showings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People don't always
Also-
see their own mess.
Well, also, what I say is sometimes people are buying the property as an investment. And so the better you present it, like yesterday I went into a place and it was scary.
I know.
Yeah.
But the better, like I've had clients just acquire the tenant. So
Yeah,
Yes.
and sometimes it gets sold with the tenants. So then there is a stake in it. And they want to keep their property because it's hard to get a rental these days.
And
And,
that's
and they're willing to work. Yeah.
Yeah, and that same argument applies when this potential new owner is coming through and they see a potential problem tenant. They might think, well, I'm not so interested in buying this home as an investment, and so it might end up selling to a single family that kicks the tenant out.
Yeah.
But if the tenant can really prove and show that they're, that they are going to be a good tenant and cooperative, then it might be that home sells more likely to an investor. So it's all in their best interest.
Exactly. And, it's like, it will be disruptive for the tenant, but it also is more like the kickstart of them leaving or, staying in a better way. So if they're like, carpets need to be cleaned and windows need to be washed and you have cleaners coming through, maybe the owner organizes those kinds of things, then their life gets disrupted anyway. And then they feel they need to go. So not many bad situations we've had with that. So
I have two more questions. One is, do you do remote consults? Because we're here in Victoria and you're in Calgary. And do you?
Yeah, I can. For color, I can't, because you have to be on location I would not put my name under a color selecting over the internet.
Right.
But remote consultations, for sure. There's many ways to do it.
Okay. And then I don't know if you care to share this or not, but like cost range for consults and.
Yeah, a flat fee for a consultation is $250. GST. And if it's remote, it depends on, how extensive the house is. Usually we ask for photos first, analyze those, and then do a Zoom call to talk people through the house.
Beautiful.
I've done it with video with a stager I use here. Yeah. Sometimes like they just don't have time to get to the property, especially during COVID.
With COVID, it's also there's the safety issues as well.
Yeah. There's many ways to do it, and I mean we help people all across the country, so it's very possible.
Awesome.
Or we could get a whole bunch of properties ready for spring and invite Yvonne over for a weekend. And
I will come.
There you go.
I'm there often, so I'll come. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed today's talk.
Excellent.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Yvonne. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. All right. So, Andrew, how would you like to tell people how to reach you?
Well, they can reach me by phone or text at 250-360-6106. That's 250-360-6106. Or email me info@andrewplank.com, and my website andrewplank.com has numerous videos and information as well, including a business directory, which I should be adding Yvonne to.
All right. And if people need to reach me, my name is Jane Johnston. I'm with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. My number is 250-744-0775. And my email is briarhillgroup@gmail.com. And you can reach me at Briar Hill Group, where you will see videos on buying and selling, or Vancouver Island Time, where you will see videos on neighborhoods and the show. And don't forget, by the way, hold on, sorry, Yvonne, subscribe.
Oh, poor Yvonne.
I'm gone.
All right, everybody, have a great week. So next week, what I thought maybe we could talk about is property disclosure statements. It came up this weekend on our show.
Sure.
On our thing. Yeah. Anyway, okay. All right, everybody, have a great week. Don't forget, every Monday at 10 a.m. we'll see you here. If you have any questions, please give us a call. And Gabriella is saying hello from Nicaragua. So
hello, Gabriella. Wow. Amazing.
Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.